Hi, and welcome back to another French horn lesson. Today we're going to be going over pages 6, 7, and 8 from the Blue Book. So starting at the top of page 6, there is a new term, which is D minor key signature. For now, just think of D minor as having the same key signature as F major, so it'll just have one flat. And there's another term that says tempo, and accelerando or an accel is to gradually increase the tempo. So it'll be like, and then you just keep increasing the tempo. So first let's start off with number 22, which is the warm-up. So that's what the warm-up sounds like. It's just a chromatic scale going from C to A. Back up to C. Okay, so now let's move on to number 23, which is D natural minor scale. So natural minor is basically when there's just a B flat for D major, or D minor. So D major has F sharp, C sharps, and B natural. And when you make something natural minor, you bring down the third, the sixth, and the seventh. So when you bring down the third, the F sharp becomes F natural, the sixth, the natural B becomes B flat, and the C sharp becomes a C. So that's how you get a natural minor scale. So yeah, let's try this one now. So that's what the scale sounds like. Okay, and the next one is a D harmonic minor scale. The harmonic minor, you raise the sixth. So if you raise a C by a half step, it becomes a C sharp. And a C sharp is a new note that we're just learning. Fingering for a C sharp, if you have a single horn, is first and second valve. And if you have a double horn, it's second and third valve with the trigger. So let me play number 24 so you can hear how the C sharp sounds in this exercise. And a C sharp just sounds like this. So that's what a C sharp sounds like. Okay, so now let's move on to number 25. This one is, it has a repeat. So you play, there's a repeat and there's a first and the second ending. So you play through the first ending, you repeat, and then you do the second ending. And it says the second time you can add an accelerando, but I'm playing with the metronome, so when you're practicing, you can add it in on your own. And I'm pretty sure this one is in D harmonic minor because there's C sharps and there's B flats, and we're starting on a D. So, yeah. Hey. Okay, so that is the exercise, the little hey at the end. For this one, just make sure that you add in your accents and practice it a couple times to get that C sharp in. C sharp's fingering in the lower octave is first and second valve, so yeah. Let's move on to number 26. This one is also pretty straightforward. Let me lower the tempo a little. Pretty simple. Just look out for the C sharps, and this one also has B flats and E flats, so it has a lot of accidentals that you have to look out for. and there's a first and second ending. Okay, hold on, let me start again. So that's the exercise. Yeah, that's it. Now let's move on to number 27, Turning You Loose. Yeah, this one is just F major scale based. As you can see, it just goes F, G, F, G, F, G, A, B flat. So it's pretty scalar based on the F major scale. So that's what this exercise sounds like. Yeah. Now let's move on to page 7. There's a new term at the top of the page that is a dal sonio al fine, DS al fine. So this one, it just means you go until the end and then you look for the sign. So the sign looks like a little thing with a line through it. So you go back to the sign and you play until the fine. So a DC al fine, you go back to the beginning and you play until the fine. But for the DS al fine, you go back to the sign and you play until the fine. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll just play this exercise all the way through basically. So yeah. Oh, and it's in 2/4, a few things before we start. It's in 2/4, there's B flats and E flats in the key signature, and there's a DS all fine. So just remember, go back to the sign and play till the fine. One, two, two, two. that's the whole exercise, and if you could not see what I did at the end, after I got to the A, which is on the bottom line, I saw the D sol fine, so I went back to the sign, which is located at measure 9, and I went from measure 9 all the way until the fine, which is measure 28. So hopefully that pathway makes sense. So I'll repeat it, go all the way till the end, go to measure 9 and play until measure 28. You go back to measure 9 because of the sign, and you go back to measure all the way to measure 28 because that's where the fine is, and that just means you're finished. Okay, so now let's look at exercise 29, and this one is also in D harmonic minor because you can tell, because there are a few written in C sharps, and the key signature has B flat and we're starting on a D. The note that we start on is a D. So those are a few little hints that you can see that we're playing in D harmonic minor. And I'll lower the tempo a little. This exercise sounds pretty cool to me. Okay, let me start again. Okay, so that's what the exercise sounds like. Yeah, basically it. That one had a D, C all fine, so that means once you go to the end, you go back to the beginning and play until the fine. Okay, so now let's look at page 8. Page 8, there's a new term called an eighth rest. And an eighth rest is basically half a count. So an eighth rest is half of a quarter rest. So the exercise sort of shows you how to line up the eighth rest. Eighth rest is equal to an eighth note. So basically an eighth rest is half a count in 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 time. An eighth rest is as long as an eighth note. So let's do number 30 really fast, and it's repeated. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's basically how it sounds like. Let's do number 31, which is eighth rest off the beat. Okay, so these were eighth rests on the beat. Now we'll be doing eighth rests off the beat. So when the eighth rests are off the beat, the eighth notes are on the beat, so it'll just be like shorter, eighth notes. Okay, so now let's do number 32, which is a trio. So first I'll play the top line, then I'll play the middle line, and then I'll play the bottom line. This one is in 2/4, it's forte, and it has B flats. So that's the top line. Now I'll be playing the middle line. That's the middle line. Now I'll be playing the bottom line. Okay, so that's what all 3 lines sound like, and you can try those with me by rewinding the video and playing along with me. Okay, now let's do number 33. This one is in 4/4. It's piano, so play pretty quietly, and it has B flats in it. That's it with this one. So yeah, that's basically it for this exercise. And we have one more page for page 8. But there's only one exercise on this that we have to do, which is the Yankee Doodle Duet. Okay, so I'm just looking at it. So it'll be 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, 2, 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, 2. So that's what the top line will sound like counted, and I'll do the bottom line counted now. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and okay, 1 and 2 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I'll play the top line first. So that's what the top line sounds like. Now I'll be playing the bottom line. So what I like about this duet is that the different notes slot in. So the melody would be B flat, C, D, C, D, C, F, B flat, C, D. And it's sort of like the 8th rest in one part, and that 8th rest is played by an 8th note in the other part. So the melody will only sound like a melody when both parts play together, which I find really cool. Okay, so that is it for page 8. So that means we are done for today's lesson. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully you understand these exercises a little bit better now. See you next time. Bye.